Anyone can plan an event, but not every event becomes an experience. Today I'm breaking down how an Alice in Wonderland theme can transform weddings, corporate events, and experiential activations into something guests can actually feel the moment they walk in. Alright, so you guys quickly watched me create this. Well, I'm going to speed it up so it won't look quickly to you. But essentially, when I think of Alice in Wonderland for a corporate event, and I will precedent this statement with, typically in corporate events, clients do like the traditional Alice in Wonderland look. Me, on the other hand, I like to mix it up. I'm not focusing on Alice per se, I'm focusing on her experience and how she interacts with everything. And so I turn that into everyone at this event is Alice, and they're going through Wonderland, in the aspect of seeing it all, experiencing it all as Alice did, if that makes sense. So, and then I did have to make a few minor adjustments to what I had told y'all originally. So I said Venetian Ballroom, but at 50K, let's be realistic. In events, we all know that's more like 25 to 30K, right? And so to make this work and not have it be, in my opinion, boring Alice in Wonderland theme with like the basic traditional designs of Alice in Wonderland, I want to spruce it up. So with that being said, I'm changing the venue from Venetian to, oh my gosh, I had it in my mind and now I just forgot it. I'm changing the venue to, I believe the ballroom's at Mandalay Bay. It's the Islander Ballroom. If you've been there, you know where that's at. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been a minute since I've done anything there. But for the sake of this, traditionally, when I work with corporate clients, their main focus can be the entrance, the bar, as well as centerpiece options, entertainment, and photo ops, which I love. I love a good interactive photo op, and not your like backdrop, stand up, and you stand there and pose. No. I like me an interactive photo op, and I'll show y'all what I mean next. But so when I was first trained in designing events, do I want to call him my mentor? I looked up to him as a mentor. But he always was like, think of how you want to present this room. How do you want to dress up this room? How do people enter the room? What are they going to first? So, in my opinion, for this specific concept and theme, this is the entrance before you get into the ballroom. So once you walk in, and he would say, how do you want to tell the story of the event? That's what it is. And so with that being said, this is before you walk into the ballroom. So this is outside when you arrive as a guest, to the client's event. So you walk through this beautiful LED keyhole entrance, which is metal with LED. And I would put a base on these, to be honest. I'm not comfortable with having it stand like that freestanding. And so when you work in events long enough, you also realize there are some restrictions. I think outside this ballroom, it can be at least 10 feet tall, and it definitely has to be 5 feet wide, which I think is doable. I would also sell this at about 8K, and that's just for the entrance. That does not include labor. I would do 8K on this entrance. Keyhole entrance. Just this piece. And then flanking it, I would sell both of these graphic signage structures that I'm thinking is made out of wood, painted, and then vinyled. I would sell those at $1,500 each. So that gets you to 11K already. Now, the beauty with working in events is, at least on the corporate side of things, they like to see the cost of things, right? And so because of that, it's in their hands to choose. We could have this whole entrance. If that's the wow factor they want to go for, just the entrance, we can do that. You know what I mean? And we work within their budget constraints as well. So, but also, maybe they just want the keyhole entrance and that's it. That's the moment. Maybe we don't need these. And I can also come down on the price because I'm doing two of them, right? Or as far down as I can, because I'm selling them as something that's being vinyled and I have to outsource that. So I do keep that in mind. But that is the entrance. Now, perimeter decor, I like to have a little fun with. So for me, this would be a graphic print. It's really tall. So this would be in the ballroom, right? And when I say perimeter decor, it's things, it was explained to me, things on the side of the room, but it doesn't necessarily have to be on the walls of the interior of the ballroom, right? It can be, when people are walking through those ballroom doors after they've been through the keyhole entrance, on the left hand side they see this piece, right, which I think is a good seller. I would sell this at $12K, but mind you, I did high and low tiers of options for them to have perimeter. So I would sell this at $12K and I would put clocks in it, and then the client could choose the colors. This would be a painted back wall. It looks like it's 8 foot wide and maybe 8 foot tall. And then this would all be painted. I would, like I said, put clocks here, and that would be that statement piece. I don't think I had the people in. It's very complex, and I don't know a woodwork artist that, or are they called artisans? Y'all know what I mean. But essentially, I would sell this at $12K. I love this mirror because I feel like it's so Alice through the looking glass, right? If we're all Alice, seeing this on the perimeter, it's a frame with a mirror frame. And then I wouldn't do this as glass, but to get that look, it might be glass. I would honestly do acrylic, to be very honest with you. But there's another way you could do it. No, I would do acrylic. I would do that acrylic. I would sell this probably at $5,700. That's what I'm thinking. And then, like I said, for this one, this is just, it's not as exciting as these two, in my opinion. This is rather drab. This could be a SEG. This looks like it's 12 feet tall by 8 feet, but it's in a hedge wall. I would just sell this graphic and have the client customize it by making the graphics and having it say, if it says Wonderland, like whatever the client's logo is, like if it's Oracle, welcome to Oracle Wonderland, something like that. That's cheesy, it wouldn't say that, but y'all get my drift, right? For SEGs, square footage. They're sold by square footage. So if I believe I said 12 by 8, that's 96 square feet. 60. I would be comfortable selling this at $2,700. I'd be comfortable with that. And it's very important to get the client to do the graphics in AI format, and so that they scale the graphics up to the size of what I quoted at. And I make that my business to ensure that clients understand that. People are just always like, oh, can't you scale it up? I can scale it up, but it might not look like your brand. So I stress that point across to all my clients. A few of them have gotten upset with, well, everybody stretches it. And then I'm like, well, then it's not your logo or your brand anymore. Are you okay with that? I wouldn't be, but who am I? Okay, now, another cool moment that corporate events like to focus on are focal bars. And I thought this was so cute. Now, obviously, this keyhole back bar is a custom piece. It would be wood. I feel like this frame you could do in wood as well. These are they're not backlit, they're underlit. And then they would need to hold alcohol. Oops, so sorry. Then we need alcohol. And I did forget to tell and mention that this event is indoors. If this was outdoors, we would be talking about different things. But for the sake of this and the time constraints that I'm putting on what I'm talking about, this is indoors, and this is all definitely going to be approved by the fire marshal. So, this bar, I love this bar. I would do the bar at 6 feet, and I believe one bar can service 200 to 250 people. So depending on the amount of people that attend this event, we always keep that in mind. How many bars are we going to need? This is a wood bar with graphics, so I would need to get these graphics created by the client, scaled to the size of the bar, and I would send it to our printer, and we could print it and install it on the bar. So for this 6-foot wide bar, I would do 1,200. And for this back bar, because it's custom and not too intricate, but intricate enough, I believe we can CNC cut this shape. I would honestly charge, if it's, I know the image is misleading, like this looks definitely smaller than 6 foot, it looks more like 4 foot, but this is why it's important to know or have an idea of how you want to have things fit in the space and what size they should be. I would have this, if this is a 6-foot wide bar, I would have this, I would say at 8 feet. You could probably do 6 feet, but I feel like 8 feet is more necessary. 8 foot wide to have 2 4-foot wide panels by 10 feet. I think that's fine. And I would also sell that at about 4,500, I would say, painted, not vinyl. And then I thought it'd be cute or a good idea to have the bartenders dress up as the cards, or have them dress up as what's her name, the Red Queen, or her subjects for that matter. And that would be a cost as well, to have custom attire for these people. Let's say this event is for 500 people, you would only need 2 costumes, because each bar serves from 200 to 250 people roughly. So 2 costumes, that's also additional, it's not included in the construction and fabrication of this back bar, right? So for me, I think costumes, it's been a long time since I've priced out costumes. I want to say 2,500 each. Someone in the comments I know is going to be like, costumes are da 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 da. But yeah, that's how I would price that out. Oops, why does it keep going forward? Okay, so photo ops. I love this. I love this. I love the umbrella. I love the fact that there's this focal moment happening, and I love the time clock, because Alice loses track of time, which is why I love how this looks. This could be a print, and it would obviously have maybe a K stand in the back, but definitely some form of supports, because this is not freestanding. And I love the LED that also gives a nod to the bar and the entrance of the keyhole. I would sell this at maybe 6 to 7K. Yeah. I love the doors because Alice shrinks and grows. I think this is phenomenal. You know, if she's 6 foot tall, this door has definitely got to be 8 foot tall. And then there needs to be returns and support on the back end. But I would sell this at, because I could buy the big, like these 2 doors I would purchase, and then we could create these smaller ones. I would say 8K, between 8 to 9K for this one. And again, I will repeat myself, this whole thing that I'm pricing out just on the fly right now, of course it's going to be over the 30K, right? But I'm giving my client options and not too many options. This is my favorite. I would love to do this. This I think would be the most cost effective, excuse me. Could do the if we do the box, right? The box I would sell at 5K, and then I would price out these individual keyhole pieces to be dimensional, so maybe a 1/4 inch printed on polycarbonate or ultra board or foam board. And then the key we could make on the CNC machine, and then that would be your interactive element. So you're trying to fit the keys inside the box, and I think this is a surefire winner. So I think in altogether, this could be probably close to, since I'm making it a box, it's probably closer to 11K with all these top, sides, and back, and then there's flooring. The flooring I would vinyl, of course, because of that checkerboard print. I don't want to talk about this one because I like it, but I liked it for the colors and the keys aspect, so I'm gonna skip over that one. But if you want to know, I'd probably price this at, this looks like a 10, it could be a 10 by 10, 10 foot tall by 10 foot wide. This would be a custom desk pieces. I would say between 8 to 10K on this one, honestly. Now, corporate events love centerpieces options and food stations. Let me tell you, this, I love that it was simplistic enough to still get that same aesthetic of Alice. These are bud vases that they're in, so for a collection I would say of 20 bud vases at, I don't know, $12 each, and then the florals are additional. So I could sell these at $150 every set of 20. And I'm saying the 20 as in the vases because we have enough in-house vases to do this. Only disclaimer is that they would not be gold. If we wanted gold vases, I would have to outsource them. But we do have clear bud vases, so because they're in-house, they're cheaper because we own them. This one I would do probably $175. What makes it most expensive is the are those orchids? I always get my flowers confused. Or are they Ethereums? I'll insert the right name. I always do that, gosh. And a deck of cards is not expensive. So yeah, I feel comfortable with that price. Now this would be a custom LED heart, which at my old company I worked for as a DMC, we owned something like this. So it's metal LED running through it. And then I love how this is set up. I feel like this also is a nod to the LED moments that are already seen previously. But to have this custom, this is definitely probably, excuse me, blowing or getting close to the budget. I would do 10K. And then these tables, probably $50 each. No, the tables would be more expensive. The tables I would do, actually these tables are custom because it's a continuous, yeah, I'd probably sell the whole thing for 12K, 10 to 12K, we'll say that. And then entertainment, I love having the Mad Hatter as the magician, the Cheshire Cat as a contortionist, and the White Rabbit as a strolling food model, or as a trickster, constantly, stirring up the ruckus. Entertainment, we'd be paying for the costumes, or we could find a vendor that actually has costumes similar, which would bring the cost down. But for each of these, I'm gonna say 3K each. And I think that's it. So this is corporate events. This is what I do on a day-to-day. juggling people's budgets, making sure there are moments where they can brand. And if I go back, because I'm calling it out now, there are definitely moments where on these keyholes there could be branded, the key could be branded, just the sides can be branded if they want to cut the budget, excuse me. Same with this, we could vinyl brand those. And when I say brand, I mean having placements for the client's logos to be placed on. We could obviously brand the doors. You can see here, there's some verbiage. You could put a logo right there. Same with the back bar. You could have a logo here. It could be on standoffs. It could be a neon sign. It can be PVC. It can be ultra board. There's options. That's the beauty of this, right? Because you're thinking of how you can dress up a room. Clearly on this, another logo. I did mention that. We could vinyl their logo onto this one. We could PVC have their logo here. That way when people step to the side of it, you see the logo, you get a picture. It's a memorable moment. And then I feel like I would brand these top headers on the signage. But yeah, that's corporate. Let's see if I can do, no, not let's see. I think I'm going to do weddings next to give me a little break, and then experiential, I'll do that after. But if you watched this far, I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for the next two. We're back. So unfortunately, as I was doing this, my phone died, so I really need to speed up this process of me talking through this. Alright, so this is the wedding one. That is Alice in Wonderland themed. All in budget is $50K, but we're landing probably around closer to 30 minus the labor and the truck fee. So here you have your aisle decor. You have mossy mushrooms, and then these paper flowers, which is, I think, a really nice cost-effective option for wedding aisles. I would sell this all in 35K exclusively, because I know it can be hard for brides to want to drop that much money, but I know that's the budget as well, so I would sell it for that much, landing at the 50K in total. So the altar decor, I love this mirror frame with some florals. I would switch out the florals for the more whimsical look, but I also love the attachments of greenery. I would also set it up like this. There'd be a riser, and we would have the frame on the riser with support, of course. And instead of these, I call them lawn chairs, they're not lawn chairs, I would switch them out for more of a whimsical seating arrangement. And by whimsical, I mean tufted chairs and sofas in different colors. And I think that's really beautiful, especially for Alice in Wonderland. I love this option as the excuse me, welcome sign. I feel like it fits perfectly with the mirror, acrylic I should say, and some miniature paper flowers with some moss and rocks on the side. And then we have your escort seating chart. And I love this black and white. I feel like that'll pop better instead of it getting lost with all the greenery. And this is also could be a cleaner alternative as far as, you know, vinyling it down. Alright, onto the centerpieces. I love all of these. I'm obsessed with this Mad Hatter, top hats stacked idea. Love that. And then these are the bouquets. I love the color scheme in here. I would just incorporate some of the Alice in Wonderland themed knickknacks. The boutonnieres, I personally love these two. I feel like they encapsulate the whimsical appearance of this wedding that I am portraying. Sweetheart table, I love this. I love the tufted. I would do 2 different colored chairs, and I'd make this just a little bit smaller. But other than that, I love how this looks, and probably incorporate some greenery. And that's it on the wedding. So let's head over to the experiential, which is the last one. I would also sell it at 50K all in, inclusive of the labor and trucking on this one. And so for this one, I'm thinking we do a pop-up where it's like a madhouse, having an entrance, but I would have Alice coming attached to two arches centered on him, if that makes sense, hanging down. And then I love having the idea of the walls, the Cheshire Cat, the time clocks. That's one idea. My second idea would obviously be like a pop-up retail store, like Museum of Illusions. Yes. And I love the dinner party theme. I feel like that's so interactive. People are sitting, having tea, or sampling products, whatever that may be. The colors easily brandable to fit the client's brand kit, works perfectly. And I see this being also working as, a 10 by 10 pop-up booth space. So, or a 10 by 10 by 10 pop-up booth space. So that's where I landed on that. I hope this all made sense. Please let me know what questions you have down below. I am speeding through this because, like I said, my camera already died twice and I don't want to record again. So, yeah. If you have any questions, let me know on the bottom. Until then, I'll catch you next time.